Hello everyone, I invite you to every Wednesday cryptocurrency review. Let's start by checking the current situation on the BTC pair to USDT, taking into account the 4-hour interval. First, we will use blue lines to mark the local channel of the sideways trend and using Now we can move on to marking the places of support in the event of a correction. And here we see that we have the first support at the price of $28,163, the second support at the level of $27,853, the third support at the price of $27,592, and then it is worth marking the support zone from $27,347 to $26,982. Looking the other way, in a similar way using the fib retracement tool, we can determine the places of resistance. First, we have very strong resistance at $28,419, second resistance at $28,930, and third resistance at $30,427. Please pay attention to the CHOP index, which indicates that most of the energy has been used, but there is still some movement left. The MACD indicator indicates a local uptrend, while the RSI indicates entering the upper part of the range, which can give you a moment of breath or a slight rebound. As the second chart in today's review, we will check ETH against USDT, also on a single-day timeframe. First, we will use the yellow line to mark the uptrend line that the price has left sideways. While currently we can see that we are moving in the downtrend triangle marked with blue lines. Now let's move on to marking the places of support. We will use the trend-based fib extension tool to mark the supports, and as you can see, we have the first support zone from $1,673 to $1,629, the second support at the price of $1,567, and the third significant support at the level of $1,486. Looking the other way, we can also mark the places where the price should encounter resistance on the way to increases. And here we will also mark as the first resistance zone from $1,803 to $1,873. When we manage to break out of it up, the next resistance is at $1,931, and then the third resistance at $1,992. The CHOP index indicates that we have a lot of energy for the upcoming moves. The MACD indicator indicates a return to the downtrend. On the other hand, we see a rebound on the RSI, and we are staying below the downtrend line, which may indicate a deepening of the correction. Next, we can move to the DOT chart in tandem with USDT on a 4-hour time frame. As we can see, the price is broken out of the local downtrend channel, which we have marked with blue lines, and is struggling to hold the price. Let's start by marking the support spots for the price, and we see that we first have support at $6.06 just as we return to the descending channel. But if the price goes lower, we have another support at $5.92, then at $5.81. Looking the other way, we can similarly determine the places of resistance that the price has to face. And here we see that the price has now bounced off a strong resistance at $6.27. Then we have a resistance at $6.35, a third resistance at $6.42, and then a fourth resistance at $6.48. The CHOP index indicates that there is some energy left for the next move. The MACD confirms the ongoing local uptrend, while the RSI has reached the upper part of the range after a nice price increase, and now we have a healthy correction. The last in today's chart is the FTM chart in pair to USDT, like its predecessor on the 4-hour interval. First of all, we will use the yellow line to mark the downtrend, which the price overcame, but is currently moving along this line in the local downtrend channel. Moving on, we can move on to marking support areas when we start a larger correction. And here the first support is at $20.42, the second support is at 38 cents, the third support is at 35 cents, the fourth support is at 30 cents. Looking the other way, we see that the price must cross the local descending channel upwards, and the first resistance is at 48 cents, then the second resistance at 51 cents, the third resistance at 54 cents, the fourth at 58 cents, and further at 62 cents. It is worth paying attention to the Ema Cross 10 and 30, because we can see that we are on the verge of entering an uptrend. Please look at the CHOP index, which indicates that most of the energy has been used. The MACD indicates a local uptrend, while the RSI Pi shows a fairly strong increase. We can see that a recovery period has begun. Technical analysis is provided by a third party, and for informational purposes only. It does not reflect the views of CryptoDaily, nor is it intended to be used as legal, tax, investment, or financial advice.